Hello everyone and welcome to this video today, and today I will actually be talking about Formula 1 in 1,000 seconds to celebrate the fact that the 2019 Chinese Grand Prix is the 1,000 Formula 1 World Championship race. Must make it clear because the nerds on Twitter will tell you otherwise. It's not the 1000th F1 race, it's not the 1000th World Championship race, it is certainly not the 1000th Formula 1 Grand Prix. It's just a quirk of the fact that back in the day, World Championship, Grand Prix and F1 weren't necessarily the same thing. These days they are basically the same thing, although technically not the same thing, but hey ho! So, what shall I talk about? Well, first of all I should probably talk about how did I get into the sport myself. I don't really remember the first point where I thought, wow, I must watch. I'll be honest about that. Usually you do, like for example, for cricket for example, I know it was the second test of the 2005 Ashes series where England beat Australia by 2 runs in dramatic fashion when it looks like England had bottled it once again, but that proved to be different. And with football, well, I've always had a passing interest in football, but the 2018 World Cup, seeing England get to the semis, that has reignited an interest in football, which, to be honest, I've always had. You'll have occasionally heard me ranting on a channel about Football Manager if you are watching my videos. Don't know why you would be, but thank you for watching anyway. Formula 1, another really, or more sport in general, I never really had that first point where I went, yes, I want to watch this. I just have always have liked it, as far as I can remember. Apparently, when I was a kid, my father would have me watch the race. You know, it's just, my father does like F1, but his sport has always been football and cricket, which is probably why I like those sports as well, but so yes, I do remember watching, I think it was like the 1999 San Marino Grand Prix or something like that. I somehow vaguely remember it, but I don't know how, because I think I was watching at my grandparents' house, paternal grandparents' house if you're going to be wanting specifics and you're a bit nosy. And I just sort of remember it. I sort of remember Häkkänen's crash as well, where he balls it coming out of the final chicane, which is no longer there unless you on a bike and you insist on having it for safety reasons. So I remember that. I've just sort of always been into it. I mean, I had the Dreamcast. I actually still have it. It's somewhere in my bedroom. And on that is one of the Formula 1 98 games, because back in those days the rights weren't necessarily exclusive for the Formula 1 games. Not until 2003, I think it may have been actually. But we won't go too much into detail about gaming rights. Certainly not at this point, if at all. And that always got me into it. Back in those days, Jacques Villeneuve wasn't a licensed driver. It always referred to as Williams #1 or something, and whatever game you have chosen to play. And it's it's funny because I think it's to do with the fact he was an IndyCar driver in '95. Oh, strictly speaking, is it cars he was in? Gotta get that right. I'm sure you'll all fact check me if I'm wrong, but either way, he was in what would say is now IndyCar, and also came out to F1, but IndyCar still held his licensing name. But anyway, we'll get bogged down into that. And I just sort of have watched F1 ever since, really. And it's embarrassing when I mention I've watched every single Grand Prix, almost all of them live. So about 3, 4, 5, 6 of them I've had to watch delayed. I've watched every Grand Prix since the 2002 American Grand Prix. Oh, technically it's the United States Grand Prix. But who really cares? They're the same thing. And the one thing I remember about that race is, to give aside to oversteering and abusing his traffic control, David Coulthard coming to a fine 3rd place finish, sort of unspectacular as DC was. That's when DC was in his prime. That's probably the last year before he started to tail off. 2003. Yeah, he won the first race, and then he never won again. It just didn't quite happen for him. Because McLaren, obviously, 2003. Was good, but it wasn't quite a race winner all the time. It was always there, always a podium set, certainly in Raikkonen's hands. Honestly, you can't mention the 2002 United States Grand Prix without mentioning that finish, of course, where Rubens Barrichello and Michael Schumacher, 11 rounds between them. For a bit of context, for those that don't know, you had the 2002 Austrian Grand Prix. Barrichello, frankly, had licked Schumacher that day, well and truly. And he was forced to give way, and he did it at the finish line. Also, that was a huge controversy. Look it up if you don't know. For those who are more recent fans, think Germany 2010, when Felipe Fernando is faster than you, but back a few years further. with the Brazilian being forced to make way aside for the superior, in inverted commas, driver of the day. But we're not going to get bogged down into that. And basically, so Michael Schumacher had decided Barrichello actually deserved to finish with a win. Well, not a win. So let me get this right. He tried to create a dead heat, and he very nearly did, except Barrichello got 11 thousandths ahead. Barrichello was confused about what to do, which is why you see them both cruising towards the yard of bricks. That's why that's called the Brickyard, by the way. It was surreal. And that race is in the history books because it's the second closest finish of all time. I think it's after the 1971 Italian Grand Prix. I know it's one of the Italian Grand Prix. I should have really fact-checked this before I'd begun, but I just wanted to actually have a chat and have a talk, ad hoc, with no planning, and it's usually how it's had a plan when you do a video. But this, no, we're going to do it ad hoc on the hoof. So, I do apologise if it's a bit rambly. So yeah, so also the first full season I watched would have been 2003, and all I do remember is, "It's a bloody hot summer, I tell you that right now for free." And the championship fight where it looks like Michael Schumacher could actually lose the World Championship, particularly after his home race at Hockenheim where he had a puncture. That was quite a moment. Obviously, Humble Montoya, who, by the way, is probably my favourite non-British driver of all time, because my goodness, he had balls. 2001 Brazilian Grand Prix. Watch that. Watch the restart. He takes Schumacher like a nobody and left him to be fed to David Coulthard. That's a good one. That's a good one. That season was just crazy because over the summer the Michelin tyres were superior. They were just better in the heat. Don't forget, the 2003 Hungarian Grand Prix, don't forget, Ferrari had won there in 2002. Max Schumacher won the championship there in 2001 with a race victory. Ferrari have always been good at Hungarian. To be fair, they've always been good at somewhere at some point in their history. Maybe not very, very recently, where they've been struggling and they're having a barren run right now in terms of championships. But back then, Michael Schumacher on tracks like the Hungaroring was amazing. And he got lapped by Fernando Alonso, who obviously won his first race there. And became, what was at the time, the youngest Formula 1 Grand Prix winner. So that mantle would obviously be taken by Sebastian Vettel and then obviously be taken by Max Verstappen. But, you know, that's for years to come. By the way, Fernando, he actually fought Max Verstappen's father, Jos, the boss, of course, in the Hungarian Grand Prix 2003. Not exactly like it was a fair fight, Minardi versus a Renault, a Renault, about 15, 16 years ago, one thing the Renaults lacked was a bit of power, but their chassis was amazing. And when they made the chassis even better, the 2005 where it was you have to use a set of tyres for qualifying in the race. So when they got the power of the chassis, everything sorted. That's why they won the world title. But it's about Renault, they probably never really had the quickest car in 2005 or 2006 for whatever reason. But Fernando, he brought it home. He defeated Raikkonen, probably through reliability, and Michael Schumacher. Again, I'd probably say through reliability, but Fernando was there to pick up the pieces, so fair play to him. Obviously, I also saw the end of the Schumacher years, 2003, 2004. In hindsight, though, 2004 was actually the year where it was the beginning of the end. Yes, Ferrari did. I think they won 11 of the first 13 races, or maybe even 12. I can't quite remember. Again, something I should have fact-checked. So at the end of that year, Raikkonen won the race that Schumacher won the title. And then Montoya won the final race of the year. Barrichello won in China, where Schumacher had a horrible weekend. And when Schumacher had a horrible weekend, Like, he was always on top, or he really bombed. In his first career, anyway. Certainly not like his brother, who just became obscure. God bless Ralph, even though he did win 4 Grand Prix, did Ralph, didn't he? But let's not get bogged down into that. If we'd have known it at the time, actually, this is the end of the great Ferrari, because also 2005, yes, they won the 2005 United States Grand Prix, that's because of the Michelin War. So I watched the end of Schumacher years, watched what we thought was going to be the Alonso years, but wasn't quite, but Alonso obviously has dominated our sport in recent times. And then 2006, the Hungarian Grand Prix that year, Jenson Button. Qualifies 4th, but he had an engine failure in practice, and back in those days, you had to have an engine last for 2 entire races. That includes every session. It wasn't like the pool of engines that we've had since 2009. So, he started from 14th, and my gosh. Yes, Alonso probably should have won, and he would have done had his wheel not come off, but Jensen drove brilliant that day. People say Canada 2011 is his best drive ever, and don't get me wrong, Canada 2011, when he managed to chase down Vettel, coming from last, with only about half the race left. Incredible, and 6 stops as well, which is a record, according to the F1 YouTube channel, for most pit stops that produced a victory. From British perspective, that was amazing because, finally Jensen was delivering, but David Coulthard, 2003 Australian Grand Prix, as I mentioned before. That was the last time a British driver won, and it was our longest ever barren spell, which thankfully got ended, as I actually have Jensen's book right in front of me right now. However, thankfully, that was a sign of things were going to get better. In 2007, with Lewis Hamilton, of course, yes, he failed to win his world title then, and he did win it in 08, of course. That showed things were going to get better for Britain. Because obviously, yeah, he wins it in 08, but 2008 title decider. That has to be the best F1 race of all time in terms of just whoa! That because I honestly thought that morning, because I actually went karting that morning. I actually thought Lashley would win the world title, and I was only 3 corners away from being correct. Because Vettel in his Toro Rosso did indeed pass Hamilton, because of course Glock had not stopped. So instead of being 4th and 5th, they were 5th and 6th. So suddenly Lewis was having to fight Vettel much harder than he already was having to. And then obviously you had the bronze fairy tale the next year, the last time a British team won the constructors. And of course, that's the last time we had a new British Formula 1 world champion. Jensen is our 10th world champion, and I think we've won 17 titles in total with Lewis's 2018 world championship. And then obviously the Vettel years arrived. You can call it the Red Bull era as well if you want to. And okay, it did feel like, and I'm not being disrespectful to say, it felt like the wrong person won in 2012 because Alonso probably was the people's champion that year. Let's be honest about that. But Vettel, in those days, he somehow managed to make things work, like he can't now. Now, as I'm speaking of, after the Bahrain 2019 Grand Prix, 4 races he spun in the previous 10. Now, the greats of the sport don't really do that, so that is worrying for Sebastian, but I'm not going to try and dig into him. So you had the Red Bull years. People thought it was boring. I suppose that's when the social media age started to really come truly alive, and people, they want action and stuff, and the Formula 1 race format, other than the ban of refueling, has pretty much been the same. It's 305 kilometres. That's how it's defined. It's about 190.5 miles, apart from Monaco. Lecture think it's 260k. Yeah, so the race format is pretty similar as I first watched it. The race distances are the same, for example. The Red Bull era, there were good races in there, definitely. Trying to think of, kind of 2011 we've already mentioned. And Hungary 2013, watching Hamilton's first win with Mercedes, that was quite a fascinating race as well. There were good races there. Brazil 2012, that title decider, which I've alluded to earlier without actually naming it. Yeah, but now also then you had the Mercedes era, which to be honest, has blown the Red Bull era out of the water. Because Mercedes have dominated in the sport in a way we've not seen since McLaren in like 1988. Except, they didn't just do it for 1 year, they didn't do it just for 2, they did it for 3. And okay, they weren't so dominant in 2017 and 2018, but wow. But yeah, I certainly enjoyed the battle between Hamilton and Rosberg, definitely for sure. I would say that is one of the best rivalries we've ever had in the sport, and it is a shame that Rosberg retired in the sense of Hamilton's not got a challenge. Even though I do support all British drivers, it'd be nice to see him being a big challenge, and hopefully Valtteri Bottas can discover his Australia 2019 form in this season, which is 2019. Keep up, Hosty, with your own speech. Because, let's be honest, he ain't going to get it from Vettel. He's probably going to get the chance from Leclerc. I can't see it from Verstappen because the Red Bull's probably just not quite there. But yeah, I have watched quite a lot of F1 over the years. My favourite track, it has to be the Circuit de Villeneuve. The way you can just attack it. It's my absolute favourite track in the F1 game. When I take my British cap off. You can just attack it and it's just so fun. Yes, it looks simple, but it's a lot of fun. Maybe that's because I'm a simpleton, but that's for you to decide. My favourite car of all time in F1? Oh, that's a tricky one. Obviously, the 09 Braun is famous. I don't know, I've always liked the mid-noughties Renaults. I don't know, there's something about them. Yes, they're a bit understeery, and they weren't the quickest cars. They probably had the 37 race second price 2006. Yes, the Renault probably only had the quickest car for about half a dozen of them, 7 or 8 at a push. But it worked. It was a great package, and we have this stereotype of French reliability. It didn't actually really come up. I just like those Renaults, and hopefully on the F1 games they'll be back as a classic car. But yeah, I'm coming towards the end of my 1,000 seconds, so I just want to say thank you very much for watching, guys. This is really not enough time to really be talking about the sport, is it? But yeah, so tell me in the comment section below if you are watching, how do you get into F1? Do you have any favourite drivers? Give us a shout. I'm interested to find out what you think about F1. And I will say, people have rose-tinted glasses, but F1 is in good health. We just need the 2021 reform to work. Right, guys, I am about to be done very soon, so I will keep it short and sweet. I will say thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye, and take care.